हेलो फ्रेंड्स, केजी क्लासेस में आपका स्वागत है। आज हम आपको फ्रांसिस बेकन के लॉन्ग आंसर के बारे में बताएंगे। क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट, एवेल्यूएट फ्रांसिस बेकन एज द फादर ऑफ द इंग्लिश एसे और डिस्कस बेकन्स कंट्रीब्यूशन टू द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ इंग्लिश एसे। आंसर हेडिंग इंट्रोडक्शन। बाय कॉमन कंसेंट ऑफ डाइवर्स क्रिटिक्स, बेकन इज acclaimed as the father of the English essay. No doubt he borrowed the form of the essay from Montaigne. He colored this form with his own individuality. He gave to the essay what his producers could not even dream of. His predecessors like Sidney Moore, Nash, Hooker and Lyly did significant service to essay writing, but their influence neither individually nor collectively on future English prose was so wide and deep as that of Bacon. Bacon, the eminent Elizabethan scholar and statesman, has left us a great variety of prose, political, romances, philosophical, historical and moral. But more than that, he has shown us how the English language can be used as a suitable instrument of expressing thoughts and feelings of various kinds. It is Bacon who wrote for the first time clear and simple, concise and pregnant English prose. Heading is his subject matter and themes. Bacon's essays are written on an immense variety of subjects. His range spreads from grave question of moral and policy down to the arts of amusement and most trifling accomplishment. Broadly, his essays fall into four distinct groups: A. On man in his home. Second, on man in public life. C. On politics. And D. On abstract subject. His essays therefore are rightly designated by Bacon himself as counsel, civil and moral. In his essays, Bacon tries to discover the fundamental principle of conduct that influence the action of man. His essays reflect his experience of life, but they tell us nothing of his personal likes and dislikes. According to Bacon, his essays come home to men's business and bosoms. The original idea was to make the essay a sort of literary diary in which significant observation on various topics of practical importance, domestic, social, political, moral, religious, literary and philosophical, are jotted down in a concise and terse language where they stand like words joined by a single thread, the thread being the set theme to which each separate remark is related. Heading a reflective nature of the essay. With Bacon begin philosophical reflections upon life in the style of Plutarch's Morals and the essays of Montaigne. Bacon's mind was Catholic in its range like Plutarch's, but the subject of moral thoughts that can interest him are comparatively few and generalized. His treatment of a moral subject is more scientific also than that of the classical writer. In the essays, the method of Bacon is over to reduce reflection to the lowest terms, to try to discover the fundamental principle of conduct, the influence that action of men. Again, Bacon has nothing of the attractive personality of Montaigne, a man of the world who made a point of finding out what the world was like from all sorts and conditions of men, from the king on his throne to the groom on his riding horse. Montaigne writes on every subject in breezy discursiveness like a man on horseback traveling an interesting country. Bacon's essays reflect his experience of life. They are austere, brief of the point of crudeness. They smell of the lamp. His essays of truth, of death, of great place, of friendship, and many others have been written in the reflective tone. Heading the structure of the essay. Bacon called his essays dispersed meditations. They are a compendium of a few random thoughts or reflections. These reflections are not very well grouped together but are dispersed and scattered hither and thither. They are pithy, jotting and impression on human life of a man of scholarship, a man of science, a man of worldly affairs. Thus, the essays are a delightful talk in print. They, however, have a logical unity which is more no organic but thematic. The basis of his style is compact, aphoristic sentence weighted with thought and finished but not elaborate in form. He has a habit of concentrating the substance of a paragraph in a single sentence. Several of his essays reveal that Bacon had formed no very distinct notion of his subject. He sets down what the title happens to suggest to him, and if the words of the title carry more meaning than one, or if their meaning has been suffered to remain indeterminate in his mind, the contents of the essay shift about accordingly. Heading a style in the essays. It is on account of the prose style that Bacon's essays have earned the greatest renown. But his style shows two trends. Macaulay, in his essays on Bacon, contrasting a passage from the earliest edition of the essays with an ornate passage from the last edition, remarks that his style was continually becoming richer and softer. There are certainly marked differences of style in the three editions of the essay. The first edition is compressed, bold, full of condensed thought but utterly devoid of ornament. The edition of 1612 is occasionally ornate. Its sentences run more smoothly and continuously, but force and precision are its main characteristics. Throughout, in the latest edition of 1625, the ornate work becomes very much more frequent. There are long, sustained passages of easy eloquence and sentences here and there of singular and unaffected beauty, not thrust in but flowing on continuously with the rest, and thus testifying to the all-round excellence of work which suffers nothing by its neighborhood to the very best. Heading an assessment. Bill Durant gives an assessment of the essays of Bacon. He says the essays must surely be numbered among the few books that deserve to be chewed and digested. Rarely shall you find so much neat, so admirably dressed and flowered. In so small a dish, Bacon abhors padding and disdains to waste a word. He offers us infinite riches in a little phrase. Each of these essays gives in a page or two the distilled subtlety of a mastermind on a major issue of life. It is difficult to say whether the matter or the manner more excels, for here is language as supreme in prose as Shakespeare's is in verse. It is a style like sturdy Tacitus, compact yet polished, and indeed some of its graciousness is due to the skillful adaptation of Latin idiom and phrases. But its wealth of metaphor is characteristically Elizabethan and reflects the exuberance of Renaissance. No man in English literature is so fertile in pregnant and pithy comparison. Their lavish arrays is the one defect of Bacon's style. The endless metaphors and allegories and allusions fall like whips upon our nerves and tire us out at last. The essays are like rich and heavy food which cannot be digested in large quantities at once, but taken 4 or 5 at a time. They are the finest intellectual nourishment in English. Thanks, best of luck.